So yeah, despite the damage being on the port side, she was now beginning to tilt over to the starboard side, and somehow we've got hill climbing lifeboats. Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we are back with recreating the disasters. Today we're focusing on the Costa Concordia, and I've got to thank my members. If you didn't know, I do actually have a membership program on my YouTube channel, so they've actually been deciding what ships I should be doing first, second, and third for the Recreating the Disaster series, so yeah, that's really awesome. Now before we get sailing, Jlkillen, do you want to give us a crash course on the Costa Concordia and also where we are right now?
Yeah, so the Costa Concordia was a large cruise ship that was launched in 2005, and it was acquired by the Costa Crociere line in 2006. And in 2008, which is 2 years after she was acquired, she actually received a bit of bow damage when high winds actually pushed the ship into the dock.
What's interesting about that is I didn't even know that that actually happened until the Internet Historian made a video on that, and I'll leave a link in the top right corner if you haven't seen that video, or this video by Bright Sun Films. So yeah, check those two out if you want to see a more detailed video on the Costa Concordia. But anyways, continue, Jlkillen.
Yeah, so on January 13th in 2012, which was actually a Friday the 13th, under the command of Captain Francesco Schettino, the Costa Concordia departed from Civitavecchia, which was the port for Rome in Italy.
So yeah, we're kind of departing now to follow along with the storyline, but where are we going?
The Costa Concordia, after departing Civitavecchia, it was going on a 7-night cruise.
Now, there are some rocks over there, but we're actually going to be going on a proper cruise, so we're going to not take the easy route and just sink it over there and kind of make it a little inaccurate, because obviously it's daytime right now, and it didn't sink during the daytime, did it, Jlkillen?
Nope, it was towards the evening during the nighttime, I believe.
Exactly. And the crew on board were a mix of experienced and also some inexperienced crew.
Yeah, so for one, the quartermaster, or the helmsman, was actually hired for a pretty low salary, and he wasn't actually fluent in English, so it made giving commands and receiving commands a lot harder for him.
So yeah, that'll come into play a little bit later, but for now, we're sailing on nicely and we're just enjoying a nice cruise. Now, there is actually some interior on this ship. I know it's a little bit of an older ship in game, but it does have interior, and that's pretty cool. Now, what's interesting about the Costa Concordia is she was the first in her class, which basically made the class called the Concordia class. And we also hit a mine. But don't worry, we've got pumps. This ship can handle that, so we'll be fine. Don't worry, passengers, we've got a mild tilt forward. Nothing to worry about. If you heard an explosion, don't worry, that was simply Jlkillen using the restroom. It's okay. And passengers, if you look off to your left, you can see a burning oil rig. So, good luck to them. Oh my gosh, we are in a minefield right now. This is a little concerning. Look at that beautiful shot there as the sunset starts to occur there, and you've got the lights on the ship and it's moving away. Really awesome. Unfortunately, that would be the ship's last sunset before it rolled on its side and sank. So, yeah. Alright, Jlkillen, we are about to sink the ship, so do you want to describe what's happening here?
Yeah, so the captain actually ordered a sail-by salute where they would actually pull close to the shore and, you know, honk the horn or the whistle or whatever. But the ship actually kind of got a little too close, and it actually ran into some rocks and took on some water and capsized and basically ran aground almost.
So yeah, that's what we're about to do. And the communication problem on the bridge is about to come into place, because the captain's going to order, quickly turn to the right, and they do, but then when they try to, well, basically turn around the rock, they failed to do that. He turned it the wrong way and then quickly fixed his mistake, and unfortunately it was too late, and the rear of the ship got gouged in by a massive rock. Again, if you want to see a more detailed video on this, please check out the Internet Historian's video or Bright Sun Films video on it. So there we go. So now the ship is gouged into the rock, and what it's going to do is it's going to sail out to sea, and then it's going to drift back into shore. So recreating this might be a little bit difficult, but we're definitely going to try.
So yeah, during the collision, it was actually really noticeable among the passengers. It happened during a magician show, I believe, and it actually breached the generators and the engines. So it actually rendered the ship inoperable and the power went out. So the emergency batteries actually came on, which gave power, luckily. But yeah, it was basically just chaos on what was going on.
And not to mention, the captain didn't immediately order an abandoned ship. It took a while, and now we have obviously hit the side of the land here, and now we're going to activate the sink by simulation. So lifeboats were already starting to get launched at this stage, and it was pretty much chaos because lifeboats were now starting to go down a slanted side, and they were scraping along the side, and they were falling, and it was very, very bad.
Yeah, so basically as the ship was pushed into the shore, and it basically just beached itself, so it began just capsizing and just sinking in the shallow water.
So yeah, despite the damage being on the port side, she was now beginning to tilt over to the starboard side, and somehow we've got hill climbing lifeboats. But as you can see, she's now really rolling over. She's actually about to capsize here. At this point, she is completely rolling on her side, and there she goes. So the power would have gone out, but I don't have control over the lights anymore since I sank by simulation, and now she's starting to settle into the water. Most of the lifeboats have gotten away. The funnel has collapsed, which in real life it didn't do. They actually had to cut the funnel off when they salvaged the ship, but now you can see she is really in a bad situation. Now, even still, people are on board. People are climbing down the side of the hull, but somebody that should be isn't. And who's that?
Yeah, so the captain actually abandoned ship a lot earlier than he should have. He tried to make the excuse that he happened to just slip into the lifeboat or something along those lines, and that he was just going to order the evacuation from shore.
And yeah, the Coast Guard did not have fine words for him. But yeah, that's to be expected when you abandon a ship that still has hundreds of passengers on board. So, as you can see at this stage, she is now beginning to settle down even more. And what she was doing in real life was she was actually starting to slide a little bit into the water. Her superstructure was actually being crushed by the rocks on the bottom there. So when it was raised, you can actually see that damage there, which is just stunning. Now, as a result of the ship capsizing and partially flooding, several people did die, 32 in fact, and they died trying to save other people or trying to save themselves. So it's really unfortunate. So there it is. The Costa Concordia lies on her side, but we'll wait till morning to see the full scope of the disaster. Now, Jlkillen, while we're on our side, do you want to talk a little bit about the salvage operation?
Yeah, so from what I remember, they actually had to attach large ballast box tanks of some kind, where they would actually slowly fill it with water and hopefully pull the ship up from the sandbar.
And they did. Originally, they were going to cut the ship into multiple pieces and raise it, but then they realized that was probably a bad idea because there were so many objects inside the ship that if they did cut it open, they would spill out and it would just be an environmental disaster. So, yeah, they raised the ship, and you can see photos of that. And there's actually a documentary about it, which I will also link, and it's really amazing what they did. Well, here we go. The sun is rising, and you can see here's the ship on her side, and with the funnel collapsed. So, yeah, if the funnel didn't hold strong, it would have basically fallen over into the water, but it did, and they had to cut it off for safety reasons because you don't want that thing hanging over people in the water or trying to do whatever. Now, when they were doing the salvage operation, they actually had to use explosives to blow open windows, and then they were able to get into the hull. So that was pretty interesting, and that's something I didn't know for the longest time. But yeah, they did that. What's surprising to me is the ship is, well, not turning all rusty and whatever. Usually that happens when you do any sinking. So apparently that's not going to happen, but it's still really cool to see the ship like this. Well, it's not really cool. It's a disaster, of course, and people did die during the sinking, as I mentioned. But yeah, there we go. The ship now rests on its side, and it would be salvaged and it would be scrapped. So there we go. Well then, that was Costa Concordia. So if you guys have enjoyed this, make sure to leave a like and a comment, and I'll see you next time, guys. Goodbye.